Ja, ich denke.
In der Kusie bei dem Feuer steht der Schmied, der Unerschmied. Klappt aus Eisen, Funken, Feuer fliehen. Und singt dabei ein Lied. Klappt aus Eisen, Funken, Feuer fliehen. Und singt dabei ein Lied. Von der Freiheit, was wird kommen, singt mutig, singt heiß. Und spielt nicht, wie es gießt sich von sein Ponnenteich schweiß. Klappt der Hammer eins, klappt der Hammer zwei, ich hör sie alle wie dem Pfarrer Jorgen Schnee. Hey, klappt der Hammer zwei, klappt der Hammer drei, und ja, Vinkl, ist wie a Vogel frei. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, die Freude und Arbeit, sie klappt aus Herz bei mir. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, und ja, Vinkl, nicht der keiner über dir. Tag säubert von der Freiheit, singt weiter und es klingt, nur der Hammer klappt noch höher, und hört nicht, was singt, nur der Hammer klappt noch höher, und hört nicht, was singt. Von der Erbe ziert mit Blumen, singt weiter in sein Lied. Ob gekillt ist schon das Eisen, und klappt und wird nicht mit. Klappt der Hammer eins, klappt der Hammer zwei, ich hör sie alle wie dem Pfarrer Jorgen Schnee. Hey, klappt der Hammer zwei, klappt der Hammer drei, und ja, Vinkl, ist wie a Vogel frei. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, die Freude vor Arbeit, sie klappt aus Herz bei mir. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, oh ja, Vinkl, nicht der keiner über dir. In der Kusie bei dem Feuer steht der Schmied, der Unerschmied. Klappt aus Eisen, Funken, Feuer fliehen, und singt dabei ein Lied. Klappt aus Eisen, Funken, Feuer fliehen, und singt dabei ein Lied.
Oh, what a wonderful song. Lovely.
Minna,
Okay. Yes.
I don't have one whole section that he sung.
Yeah,
clock-
yeah, not only you, all of us.
Okay.
Yeah, because Maurice, Maurice, you're here? I think that what's online and what he sings is not, there is a section missing. I think we can live with it.
Right.
Okay.
Maurice, am I right?
That's right. There's a section, it wasn't in the original text.
Yeah,
I guess he embellished it, I suppose.
yeah. Well, so we will read what we have. So
Sure.
it doesn't always have to be exactly. Yeah. So Janet, can you start reading it, please? In the English, I mean.
Because of its sympathetic view of workers and their struggle to change the economic system in der Kutne by dem fire, in the smithy by the fire, was originally thought to have been written by Morris Rosenfeld, the popular sweatshop poet, two of whose songs we have heard. But the musicologist Ruth Rubin concluded that it was by Shmuel Eichel, who was born in Warsaw in 1897. He loved music from early on and was a choir boy. He worked as a teenager in the leather goods industry and began writing labor songs after the 1905 Russian Revolution. In 1906, he went to Germany to study music, then to Brussels after World War I. After his songs were popular, although his songs were popular, he struggled to make a living. He was arrested by the Germans in Brussels and died in Auschwitz in 1943.
Thank you, Janet. Andrew, can you continue? I need to see. Andrew, you're here? Probably not. I think he also. We have a storm here, so there is a possibility that people.
Oh, Andrew's on. He can't, he's not muted. He's muted.
So Andrew, can you unmute yourself?
There he goes.
I muted myself. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Go on.
There were Jewish blacksmiths throughout Europe before World War II, and the blacksmith was idealized in the early 20th century as a muscular working class hero, a tough, lusty guy with a heart of gold. That's how he was portrayed in Edward G. Ulmer's 1938 musical film Vinkl der Schmied, the singing blacksmith, starring Moishe Oisha. The image was in large part a reaction to the stereotype of Jewish men as weaklings and shopkeepers, and it was welcomed by both socialists and Zionists as the emblem of the new Jew.
Can you go on, please?
Robert Abelson sings in Der Kuznie on the album Mir Trogen a Gesang, a collection of Yiddish folk art and theater songs. At 2 points in the song, he counts the hammer striking the anvil. This is not the original text. Abelson was a noted cantor who also sang with the New York City Opera, the Seattle and St. Paul Operas, the Goldovsky Opera Theater, and mostly Mozart Festival at Lincoln Center. He starred in the musical review on 2nd Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Steve, can you start reading the Yiddish? Steve.
In der Kuznie bei dem Feuer steht Schmieder und schmied. Kloppt das Eisen, Funken, Feuer, Blähen.
Fliehen.
Oh, fliehen, I'm sorry, fliehen. Und singt dabei a Lied. Okay, in the smithy by the fire stands a smith, and he smiths. Would that be correct? And he smiths, and he bangs on the iron. He makes the fire fly, or he blows on the fire. He flies.
Sparks of fire fly.
Sparks of fire. Okay, sparks of fire, and he sings. And he sings. there a song.
Okay, thank you. Maurice, anything to add?
That's fine. Dabei is as he's doing it, as he's.
Yeah, I thought that meant like, I couldn't figure it out because I thought it meant like,
right. As he's working, he's singing.
right, as he's working, okay.
Okay, thank you. Cookie, you haven't read for a while. Cookie, I think you have to unmute yourself because Michael muted all of us. So please, if I call you, unmute yourself. Oh, okay, good. Now.
Von der Freiheit, was wird kommen, singt mutig, singt heiß. Und spricht
Spielt.
es gissen sich von sein Ponem Teichen Schweiß. When freedom will come, he's singing, singt mutig. He sings sadly.
No, bravely.
Bravely, thank you. He sings bravely, and he sings it loudly. Haste.
Haste, passionately.
Oh, passionately. Okay. He sings. Thank you. He sings passionately. Und spricht nicht wie es gissen sich. Was man spricht.
Notices. He doesn't notice.
He doesn't notice that he's sweating bullets von der Punem Sichen, from the sweat that's pouring down his face.
Right. Teichen. Rivers of sweat.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, it's gone. It's 2 lines.
Me?
Yes, you.
Thank you. Clive did hammered eins. Clive did hammer zwei. The hammer hits once, the hammer hits a second time.
Yeah. Okay. And here there is a section that is missing, but I think we can live with it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Rina Leah, can you read, please? Just remember that you are muted. So Rina
Sorry.
Leah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stark, but so wird, but so wird von der Freiheit singt weiter und es klingt. Nur der Hammer klopft noch höher und hört nicht, was singt. I'm not sure, but Subert, strong.
But Soibet is enchanted, entranced.
Enchanted, chanted.
Absorbed.
Right. Soibet is like magic, but Soibet, he's
Strong magic from the freedom. Sings he onwards and he clings, that must mean hammers. Only the hammer hits even stronger and he hears not what he sings.
good.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Dank.
Okay. And Bob, can you go on, Bob?
In die Erd, baziert mit Blumen, singt weiter in sein Lied. Abgekillt ist schön das Eisen und klappt und wird nicht müde. And the earth, and the earth adorns with flowers, adorned with flowers.
Yeah.
He sings wide, weiter.
He sings on. He continues to sing.
He sings on in his song. Kult is showing das Eigen. The anvil is still singing, is making noise.
No, it's opgekühlt
Oh,
is already
comes
cooling.
down.
It's kühlt is cooled.
Cools
Cool
down,
down.
right, off, down, right. And he never tires from his from what he's doing, from his hammering, from his
Right.
smith-
Klopped
and he
it.
never tires from
Right,
what
he's
he's doing.
banging and he still doesn't get tired.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Rafael, yes?
In the original, it's not die Erde, it's von der Erde. And it makes a big difference because what that means is he's no longer alive. From the earth, covered with flowers, he is still singing his song.
Oh,
His iron is already cooled down, but he's still hammering and not getting tired.
Oh,
that gives it a whole new meaning,
Wow.
if you think of it.
Does that imply maybe even after life this goes on, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that really gives it a whole new meaning. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go on. Zuli, can you read it? Unmute yourself.
Klap de hammer eens, klap de hammer twee. The hammer keeps on clapping once, the hammer keeps on clapping twice.
Okay, now go on.
In der Kunde bei dem Feuer steht der Schmieder und Schmied. Klappt das Eisen, Funk, Feuer fliehen und singt derweil Lied. In der Kunst, how do you say Kunstner?
Smithy.
Smithy.
By the fire, where the fire is, stand Schmieder, iron worker, I don't know, oh gosh, the Iron Man, I don't know how you call in English the guy that does the hammering.
The smith.
The Schmied, the same word, that's why.
Yes, the blacksmith.
The blacksmith, that's it. He hits the iron and the sparkles from the fire start flying around, and he sings in the meantime song.
Good. Thank you, Zuli.
I'm sorry, all right.
No, that's okay. I know what you mean. I am getting stuck sometimes when I'm looking for the English word. Not sometimes, a lot of times. Yeah. Rafael, you want to add anything? Because I see your hand is up. No?
No, sorry,
Okay.
I forgot to lower it.
Okay. Maurice, do you want to add anything before we listen to it once again?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so.
Mina, I'm back if you want me to play the.
Oh yeah,
PowerPoint.
please, because you are playing it with the words. Yeah.
Simultaneous.
Okay.
Okay.
So we are really multitasking today.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Let's see.
Singt bei ein Lied von der Freiheit, was wird kommen. Singt mutig, singt heiß, und spürt nicht, wie es gießt sich von sein Ponnenteich Schweiß. Klappt der Hammer eins, klappt der Hammer zwei, ich höre sie alle wie dem Fahrerjorken Schnee. Hey, klappt der Hammer zwei, klappt der Hammer drei, oh ja, Vinkl, zwei, klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, die Freit und Arbeit, sie klappt das Herz bei mir. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, und je Jankel, mit der keiner über dir. Dar hat säubert von der Freiheit, singt weiter und es klingt, nur der Hammer klappt noch höher, und hört nicht, was singt. Nur der Hammer klappt noch höher, und hört nicht, was singt. Von der Erde ziert mit Blumen, singt weiter in sein Lied. Ob gekillt ist schon das Eisen, und klappt und wird nicht mit. Klappt der Hammer eins, klappt der Hammer zwei, ich hör sie alle in dem Fahrerjorgen Schnee. Hey, klappt der Hammer zwei, klappt der Hammer drei, und je Jankel ist wie ein Vogel frei. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, die Freit von Arbeit, sie klappt das Herz bei mir. Klappt der Hammer drei, klappt der Hammer vier, oh je Jankel, nicht dort keiner über dir. In der Kusnie bei dem Feuer steht der Schmieder und Schmied. Klappt das Eisen von dem Feuer fliehen, und singt dabei ein Lied. Klappt das Eisen von dem Feuer fliehen, und singt dabei ein
Wonderful. Okay, I see the two people. Bob, yes.
Yeah, I see Hans Sachs as the Meister singer. This guy could have easily played that role. And Stalin must have loved this guy, probably while he was sending death notes to Shostakovich. He was putting this guy on, wherever he could write music. This is, you talk about the perfect revolutionary music, right?
Yeah, it's
Couldn't
very,
be.
pump,
Oh.
very.
Marching.
I want to go up and fight.
Marching, yeah, you want to start marching, exactly. Okay, thank you, Bob. Elaine?
I would, can whoever has those, can you translate the entire, klop the hammer, the whole, because it was, we only saw, I want to know what the eins and zwei and drei and vier.
Okay, but Elaine, since we don't have the words, we cannot do it from the listening.
Oh,
so-
okay.
So
Okay.
it's impossible. Okay.
Okay.
So if you find the words, we can do it for you. But
I'm sure
otherwise-
I'm not gonna find it if you.
I might have it.
find
I
it.
might, because I have that book, Mitragana Gazan. I'll look for you, Elaine.
Okay, so
Oh, great.
Beverly, we
Super.
look
I
into
have that
it.
book. I have that book.
Super. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone has any other comments before we move to the
Look,
song?
look, Refoil posted the link with the words in the chat. You can go
Oh.
find them there.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
I must put someone else that is not from Houston as a because what's going on here. So Mariv, I'm putting you also as co.
Good idea. So we can be secure. Yeah.
Yeah, because
yeah.
what's going here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
okay,
calm here. It's not gonna go down here, so.
exactly, because I almost lost
Yeah,
electricity,
yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
okay, in case I lose it, Marie, run this, okay?
Okay,
Okay, okay, so, where were we? Sorry, someone was talking about the song?
I just said Refoil posted the link to where the words are in the chat. You
But
can
the
get
Yeah,
words
but
does
it's
not
the
include
same,
the
it's the
extras.
same
It's
as what
still
we
not
have.
the full song. Okay,
It's the
Okay.
same as what we have.
okay.
Okay, well, it's not always, we cannot always be perfect, so. What
Somebody
can-
can have some hame out of it and send me the rest of the words and I'll update it.
Okay. Okay, guys, so let's move to the story. So if you remember, really nothing happened in this story. It tells about an old Buddhist who once was very active in the Partei, and he was in jail, in Tfise or Turme, and danach hat immigrated nach the United States. I'm talking both, whatever comes to my mind right now. And it's just, he opened the laundromat, and he's kind of, how do you say a Karmajan? Amruk? How do you say?
Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon.
Yeah. Well, my parents used to say Amruk, but I think it's Russian, not Yiddish. Does anyone know the word for it in Yiddish?
Yiddish also, a maruk, a pessimist or a curmudgeon.
Okay, because I always had the idea that it's Russian, not so.
What does curmudgeon mean?
Curmudgeon is like a verbissina mensch.
Oh,
Feisty, feisty.
that's an
No,
English.
not feisty.
Exactly, not
Not
exactly.
Not feisty.
It says a
Uh,
it says a bad-tempered person, especially
Exactly.
an old one. Oh my
Always,
God.
always complaining, always complaining.
I don't have an example because all of us here are very good natured.
No, no, I'm a curmudgeon. I'm a curmudgeon. Get out of my house.
Going on here. Do you hear what's going on in Houston?
I just learned a new English word. I never heard it before.
Wow. Okay, and
You,
then
you know,
it
Cookie, a sourpuss.
Yeah.
That's really a curmudgeon, a verbissina mensch.
It says that the word curmudgeon is thought to be of Yiddish origin.
Oh,
really?
Is that hysterical? It comes from the Yiddish word curmudgeon, which means spiteful person. I'm
Oh.
telling you.
That's really.
Isn't that interesting? You never
Yeah.
know.
Anyway, and then the story talks about his wife that was also in the party, not as active as he was in the party, but also she was cheering him and the other guys. And she went wherever he went to Siberia, she went with him to Siberia. And from time to time, she wants, to live the high life, just to change the furniture in the house. And then she get a lecture about what's important in life, and it's not furniture, of course, and she becomes ashamed a little bit. And also he kind of, if someone of his clients, if he doesn't like him, he's just ignoring him or just giving him a mesheberech or whatever. So, and we stopped here as a kind. Rachel, can you read, Rachel? Here,
Yeah, if I still remember Yiddish, I can.
I think you remember.
Yeah, okay. Terrific story, yeah. Als ein Kind sei es kommt zu laufen in Store von School, zerscheint sich beim Taten das Pony besonders. So when a child of theirs comes running to the store running from school to the store, his face lightens up.
Go.
Redt zum Kind wie zu seinem Haver. He speaks to the child like to his own friend. Die Kinder wachsen bei den Minskes frei wie die Vögel im Feld. The children are growing up with the Minskes in a free way, just like birds in the field. Tate Mame sporn Cent zu Cent, als der älteste Sohn Jaime soll können sich lernen in College, als ihr Kind soll genießen von das Als, wo sie allein hat in der Jugend gefällt. So, mom and dad are saving a cent to a cent so that their elder son, Jaime, will be able to study in college, that their child will be able to benefit from everything that they themselves missed in their youth. Die Kinder wissen, als wenn der Tate ist da in der Heim, darf man anstellen in Radio nur Symphonies. Und dem Tatens Meisterlach von sein Wandern in kalten Sibir ist versehen noch schöner wie alle detective stories. So the children know that when daddy is at home, they have to put on the radio only symphonies. He's so serious. And them Tatens Meister and the daddy's stories about wandering around in cold Siberia. That's how we know he was in jail. He was in cold Siberia. For them, those stories are more beautiful than any detective stories.
Okay, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Judy, you think you can read, please?
I will try.
Okay.
Jaime, der ältere Sohn, hat durchaus fahren Taten in Fahr die Big
Think New York English, big words. I don't know how to, big words.
Big word? Is that what it says, word?
Okay, is there someone here from New York that can pronounce it as it is said in New York? Beverly?
Big wild. Well, they couldn't say double.
The big
word.
Big
So
word.
they made a V.
I thought it was words.
Big words. Yeah, big
Words.
words.
Okay,
big
go on.
words.
You're right.
Was bezinkt? Benutzt.
Früher hat derech Eretz. Jaime, der älteste Sohn, hat derech Eretz fahren Tate.
Respect.
Yeah.
Okay. Jaime,
Okay.
the oldest son who had respect for his father, is that correct?
Yes.
And for the big words that he told?
That is using.
That he's using, okay. Jaime is hoch und groß gewachsen via
Ries.
Okay, Jaime grew tall and big like a reed. I don't know what that reed is.
Giant.
Pardon?
Giant, like a giant.
Like a giant. Und von sein
Sons
Verneugen,
Führung.
Führung von sein Breus,
Yes.
Brunstiger, Jugend fühlt sich das der a bisschen nicht bequem. Bequemt. I don't know that I could.
Und von seinen Sohnsführungen, from the way that his son is behaving, von seinen bräusendicker Jugend, from his...
Brazen.
Rochelle, you say something?
Brazen?
From his brazen youth.
No, stormy, stormy.
Stormy, yeah, maybe, yeah. Stormy youth. Fühlt sich der Tate ein bisschen nicht bequem, so the father doesn't feels right about it. He's not comfortable with the way his son, is behaving. Okay. Thank you, Judy. Sandra, can you continue?
Was meint Frugenden? Frugenden. What's that word?
Where do you see Trugenden?
Führungen.
A couple.
Führungen, behavior.
Oh,
the way he carries himself.
Way he's carrying on. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Sandra, you are with us? Go on.
Wollt wellen sich einmal gut durchgereden. He would like to sometimes talk things over mit sein Sohn, with his son. He would like to talk things over with his son. Zu wissen seine Gedanken, to know what his thoughts are. Und auf wie viel is gelernt and how much he really learned. Nor is hyped on mit reden, but when he starts to talk to him, kriegt bald Svekes. He gets worried, he gets anxiety.
Doubts.
Wegen Sonnets. What's it?
About his sons.
Oh boy.
About his sons.
Sons. Geistigen, about his thoughts, about his character.
No, spiritual.
Geistigen
bagage. About his spiritual baggage.
So it's some English.
A lot of English. That's why the next one, I think Barbara will do the next one well.
Okay,
so thank you, Sandra. Barbara, I think
Okay.
that's for you, I think.
Okay, you know everything, Pa. Ask me questions.
Read it in Hebrew, read it in Yiddish.
That's what I did.
That's what you got.
I did. I tried.
First word is I. I know.
They.
Okay. No, okay. Excuse me, you're right. I know everything. That makes a big difference. Ask me questions. Ja, berühmt sich Heimi. Boasts Heimi. Neuere der Tate schockelt mit dem Kopf. Umetichelach. But the father shook his head sadly. Und bedeuert in Herzen sein Sohn, was is geboren in a Saarland. Okay, and he had regrets in his heart with regard to his son, who was born in such a land. Wo nur wochendige Interessen haben die Oberhand über Menschen, where only the recent weekly interest takes hold or has the upper hand over people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Barbara.
Thank you for correcting me on that first word. Made a difference.
Rafael, please go on.
Dort is Leib Minskin, wenn einmal in ein Abend kommen sie ruf zu ihm in Stor, seine alte Freund von einem molligen heimischen Städtel. He feels good, Leib Minsky, when once in a while of an evening come into the store his old friends from the old Hamish town. Josche, der Anarchist, Ostrowski, der gewesener SR, und Moischel von die Polizien. So there are three of them. Josche, the anarchist, Ostrowski, who was an SR, a member of ES.
The social revolutionaries.
Okay, thank you. Does it stand for particular words?
The social, probably in Russian, but it's the
SR.
Yeah, the SR, but
Oh,
Soziale
SR,
Revolution.
okay, SR, social revolutionaries, okay.
It's probably, if it's there, I say it in German, the Soziale Revolutionär, but
Okay.
it was the same. It was a party. It was the party that started in Russia, and then, you know, it went on, and there were some branches in the United States, not very big in comparison with the Bund or just the American, the Socialist Party, but still existed. And Poalei Zion was a Zionist. It was a Zionist socialist party.
And what's the adjective they're using to describe it?
Gewesener, once upon a time.
Oh, thank you.
He used to be member of the Social Revolutionaries. And little Moshe of Polizien. Amol seien sie alle gewen Menschen von feindlicher Lageret. It used to be that they were all members of opposing camps. When Minsky is demalt auf der städtischer Birge gestanden mit seinem Krieg. And at that point, Minsky was fighting with them in the town Birge. And Birge town hall?
Isn't Birge something like the stock market?
Well, the Börse is a stock exchange, but
yeah.
So
right.
maybe that's what it's referring to. Don't know. But he used to be opposed to them. Jetzt ist die Scharfkeit von Krieg schon abgetempt geworden. But now the sharpness of that battle has become dulled. Yasha, der Anarchist, is jetzt in als an enttäuschter. Yasha, the anarchist, is now, he's given up hope for everything. He's disappointed. Und ist stark abgelassen bei sich. Wenn sein Panem ist verwachsen. So he's not taking care of himself, abgelassen. He's let down by himself. His face is verwachsen.
Hairy.
Well, hairy, I guess, yeah. Wie wollte sich keinmal nicht geschoren, as if he was never cutting his hair.
Or beard.
Yeah, or his beard. Excuse me, the phone's ringing. Maybe someone else can pick up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Michael, can you continue? Michael?
Oh, Michael left. He had to-
Michael left. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Karen, please. Karen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Can you just point to where we are?
Yeah, here, Ostrovsky. Hier.
Ostrowski von die SR hat do in Land vernommen sich Gord zu machen Geld. Ostrowski from the SR had here in this country busied himself entirely with making money.
So just a moment, Karen. So that's in contradiction what he believed before in Russia, because you know the Socialist Party and the SR was also agrarian socialist. So you know it was not only about Jews, because not many Jews were agrarian workers, but it was all encompassing. So it was mainly agrarian workers. So but here in the United States, he changed this everything. So
Der Krogen selbstzufrieden Schmeichel. He had he wore a self-satisfied smile. Und die Zähne seinen bei ihm alle goldene, and his teeth were all gold. Und Moishel der the labor Zionist, is Gor geblieben hängen in der Luften. And Moshe, the labor Zionist, was entirely hanging in limbo, hanging in the air. What is an Eigentümer von Store und what is Gor an Arbeiter in a shop? And he was an owner of a store, and also and here he was entirely a worker in a shop.
Okay. Just another sentence.
As sie kommen sich alle zu Minsky in store, and as they all come together in to Minsky in the store, lebt auf das weiter heimische Leben. They relive or it's revived their distant homey or homeland life. Was ist schon lang durch Milchome zerstört und verwest. Their life that has already long ago, due to the war, become destroyed and just verwest.
Deserted.
Deserted. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Rochale, can you continue? I'll check again. Rochale? I see you're with us. She's not answering. Okay, Beverly. Nora Bankshaft.
Okay, but when it says arbiter in a shop, means he was a tailor. He's working on a sewing machine.
Yeah, but it could have been also, you know, do cigars. So
I think it usually meant in a sewing. Usually the shop was the people where they. Well, it doesn't matter. As they kommen sich. Oh no.
No, a Bankshaft.
Nor a Bankshaft is by jederen geblieben, tief in Herzen versteckt. Oh, so being missing it. How do you say?
Lonesome.
Longing.
Lonesome. Being lonesome was in each one.
It's a yearning, Bankshaft, a yearning.
Longing.
Was in their heart. Der amalige Gläuben in a bessere Welt is schon upgerieben geworden by say the old belief in a better world was already, I think, given up.
Upgerieben is something that, you know,
Rubbed off.
rubbed off,
Yeah,
exactly.
rubbed off.
Rubbed off.
Oh, rubbed off, yeah. By the for
Worn
them.
away.
Right.
Worn away might be a better
Wiped out,
translation.
wiped out.
Okay,
Right.
go on,
Wiped out,
Beverly.
worn away, faded.
Anstatt dem seinen die Red durchgesappt mit Bitterkeit und Zweifel. Instead of the speech, I don't know what through
Durchgesappt is soaked.
Soaked in.
Is soaked.
Soaked with bitter. What's Zweifel?
Zweifel is doubts, safek.
Oh, doubts. Nor ein Minsky weiß nicht von kein Zweifel. Only one Minsky doesn't know about doubt. Is that correct?
Yes, only he doesn't have any doubts. Yeah.
Any doubts? On sieht klar dem Gang von der Geschichte. He sees clearly the bell or the ringing of the story.
No, the way history is going.
Oh, okay.
The way history is going.
Is going.
Geschichte is near history.
Geschichte. Oh, okay. Wie als führt nur zu ein Sach. Everything goes to one thing. Zu a gerechter Welt. To a correct world. Is verblieben a Gläubiger. He was left a believer.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I
Okay,
think
Marie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Beverly.
I think Rachel Gordon did you want her to read Rachel Gordon?
Yeah, she read.
Oh, okay, but you called on someone else and you couldn't
No,
find her.
I called on Rochale, nicht Rachel. Rachel
Oh,
read. I called on
never-
Rochale, but she. Marie, I know that I didn't send anything to you, but can you start just 3 lines? Can you read?
You're gonna hear how I really can do it? That's bad. Okay, I'll give it a really.
It's just, 3 lines.
Wait a minute, let me make the words bigger. Seine Haverim haben lieb euch ihm sich zu verrufen und als sie spoilen sich wegen etwas tiefen einen say. See, this is why you can't.
I forgot to send you. Sorry.
It's okay, but
Tiefen
this is the level I read at. It's sad.
Okay.
So,
can you
said
translate?
his friends had a love of him to what's for Reagan, or
I think to call on him, to ask him things.
to ask him. Oh, his friends always would ask him, get his opinion on as they what's sporen?
Debate.
When they sparen sich, when they are
Oh, when they
debating.
debated about something, a typhoon.
Tiefen Indians, about something deep, about some deep subject.
Okay, they would say, and the next sentence I know is go ask Minsky.
Oh, ask Minsky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See?
Ah, you gave me an easy one. You gave me an easy one.
Yeah, good. Okay, Louisa, go on, please, Louisa.
Thank you. Und Minsky can Ostdeutschen, that I don't know what it means.
Ostdeutschen.
Interpreted. Translate.
Translate.
Translate, interpret.
Thank you. And Minsky kein Oisteichen Astikele Marxen mit derselbe Emune wie Amol. And Minsky can interpret a little bit of.
But I think, Refoel, correct me if I'm wrong, that here Oisteichen is not to interpret, is to lasbir, is to explain.
A little
Yes.
Marx.
Yeah.
I
Refoel,
think
what
it's
do you think?
both. I think it's both.
Yes. Refoel?
Yes, I agree. It's to explain, to clarify.
To clarify, yeah.
Wouldn't it be, couldn't it be that he kind of infuses Marxism? He brings Marxism into the conversation?
No.
No.
Okay.
Taichen is to translate into Yiddish. So Oisteichen is to explain or to clarify.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh,
yeah.
Taishan is not, what is the word for change then? Change is Taishan?
Maybe Deutschen is
Deutschen.
Deutschen, yeah.
Okay, so sorry, Luisa, go on.
No, I think it's very interesting because isn't Deutsch the word in German? They describe German, the language.
Deutsch.
Yes, it comes from the same origin.
Yeah, it's the same origin.
Yeah,
so
I think
Ivri Teich, Hebrew German, Ivri Teich meant Yiddish. And from that you get, was ist der Teich? How would you say that in Yiddish? And from that you get the verb teichen and oisteichen to explain clearly in Yiddish.
Yeah, that makes sense. So because then he's explaining Marx, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mit derselbe Emune wie Amol, with the same belief as in the old days, right?
Mm-hmm.
In seine Augen beweist sich damals fanatisch fire, and in his eyes one can see or appear what it would be the damals the same fanatic fire, right?
It's not the same. Then damals is then.
Okay.
When he's doing it, then.
Thank you. Erot Hanaa von Reden.
And no way in Yiddish.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have Hebrew interference.
I know, yeah.
That's the linguistic term. It's
I know, I had a German teacher, and she said that I have to forget all the other languages I have because I'm doing mix and match all the time. So.
Yeah, that's tabula rasa in your mind.
Exactly. Okay, so go on, sorry.
So he has a pleasure from Hanoi from speaking, und die Knätchen in sein Bleichponim leben auf. And I guess the cheeks.
The creases.
The dimples, maybe.
Not dimples, the creases.
Nope.
The creases.
In his pale, is it pale face?
Yes.
Come alive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Seine Chaverim zevarimen sich euch, and his friends also warm up, right?
Yes.
Right.
Action. There is an action.
Right. Man sitzt in Store zwischen die Berglach, Wäsch und auf dem Counter. They sit at the store between the Berglach?
Aremot.
Piles,
mounds.
Piles. What is Wäsch?
Wash. Laundry.
Laundry.
The piles of wash, and on the counter. Men räuchert, men spart sich, und men macht mit die Hand. Yeah. One gets red, is it?
No. Men räuchert. They are smoking.
They're smoking.
They're what?
Smoking.
Oh, they're smoking, and they spart is what is it? I don't know what that is.
Debate.
They debate because it's like sparring, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They debate, and they they are moving their hands.
And they're doing with their hand like
Right.
good Jews and Italians when they're talking.
Absolutely, absolutely. They talk with their hands.
Gesture.
Okay, thank you, Louisa.
Thank you.
Rochelle, go on, finish the story for us,
Okay,
Rochelle.
okay. Celia, die Weib Simskis, steht dabei mit die Hand verlegt auf den Herzen. His wife is standing there with her arms folded over her heart. Von alle Stimmes kleibt sie nur aus ihr Manns Paul und sie schmeichelt ihr Haverdick Schmeichel.
Henvendik.
I don't know what that means.
Gracious.
Oh, okay. So all the voices she picks out her husband's, and she smiles her gracious smile. Und als a customer kommt dämmels rein mit a Päckl brudige Wäsch, steht der Customer on a Zeit und guckt, hört und fühlt sich wie a Schuldiger. Nice sentence. I can translate it. If a customer comes in with bridik, which is really filthy laundry, he stands there waiting as if he were guilty and interrupting them.
Yes.
And listening to them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Well, it's such gorgeous language.
And we stopped. And we
Beautiful.
yeah. So it's just, she depicts a person, a situation. That's what's so wonderful about it.
A moment.
Beautiful.
What was
Cookie?
interesting I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Rochelle, go on.
Okay, what was very interesting for me in this story is that I had a very hard time actually translating the words, but I got extremely clear pictures of what was going on without translating the words, which is really nice because the translation is something that almost interferes sometimes with actually capturing the entire feeling and meaning in a passage. So it was one of the more delightful stories for me. The language was complex, but the pictures were beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, Cookie.
I'm not sure if it makes too much difference, but I think the word chenevdik means charming, not gracious. Not gracious.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
It's charming and even bordering on beautiful because chen in Hebrew is beauty.
Mama used to say, "Das gefinnen chen in their Augen." Yeah,
that's yeah. Chen is charm, yeah, and beauty, yeah.
Okay, so this was this story. Next week we are doing something special, and I would like Steve to say a few words about it before Okay, just a moment. You didn't prepare anything, Steve? Okay, so this is going to be
all right.
Next week, but I would like you to say a few words about it.
I mean, my knowledge of Yiddish is nicht so stark. Oder ich bin ein Schreiber auf English for
English.
What I say?
Als rechts Yiddish, darf man sagen English, nicht English.
Good. English. Dank.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll speak in English. I was a writer you know, when I was younger, I wrote a lot and I published some stuff. And I've been trying to write Yiddish because my belief is that I learn language better through writing and reading than through anything else. So I've been trying to write a little bit, and this is a story that my father told me about two of his uncles that came to America in the early 20s. And I just wrote the story. I revised it several times, and then I revised it with a friend, a tutor actually that I work with. So I think it's readable.
It is readable. It's
okay.
readable.
Yeah, it may not be artistic, but then I'm writing at the level of a 10-year-old, linguistically. So that's it. That's all. And you know, in all sincerity, I know that you guys have looked into my background, and you know I did 10 years in Attica for when somebody criticized something I wrote and I beat them up. But I've changed, I've learned, I've grown from that experience, and I've reformed myself. So I would be deeply, deeply appreciative for anything that you can tell me that would verbessern my Schreiben auf Yiddish und auf English.
Wonderful.
Okay, so guys, since I didn't send it to you beforehand, we will not start reading it today, and I will send it to you today because tomorrow I'm going to New York for a week, but I'll be back. I'll be back next week.
Und du will besuchen mit mir? Ich wohne in New York.
Leben New York?
Leben New York, ja.
Als es kommen zu einem Musical, kann ich dich sehen. Wir gehen von einem Musical zu der zweiten Musical, zu noch eins. Von einem Museum zu der zweiten Museum.
Ich verstehe Leben der Theater, und wenn du gehst durch mir, ich will sagen, Shalom Aleichem zu dir.
Shalom Aleichem. Okay, so I will send it to you today, so everything will be fixed, so you will be able to read it. So it is charming. It's really charming. And when reading it, I hope maybe it will encourage you to start writing your experiences or your pieces of history in Yiddish as well. So just, you know, maybe nice idea. Yes, Cookie.
I heard a cute story yesterday. Yiddish, and this woman said she went to a tiny little village. They wanted to go out of the way. I don't know if it was in Belgium, but somewhere where they speak French. And I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, that the word vert is green in French.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, in French, other way around.
So they had a little jewelry store, and this woman came in, and her husband was already tired at the end of the day, the manager. And he was so sick and tired of this customer with all her questions and everything. He shows her a necklace, and he looks at it, and he goes, "Wer der Haget? Wer verbrennt?" And she thought it was a new color green. And now I'm telling you the story because it's a mix of the French. So she says, "How could you say that to a customer?" She says she knew Wer. She thought it was a new color green necklace. And he kept saying to her, "Wer der Haget, wer."
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Marsha.
Oh, yes, Steve, I think this is wonderful. Did you type this up, or who helped you to do this?
No, I typed it.
Amazing.
I typed the way I type everything. 3 or 4 fingers, but pretty well in English, pretty quickly. Because I've written so much.
You should have sent it to us, not typed. That would have been a challenge.
Yeah, well, if I hadn't typed it out, you wouldn't be able to read it at all. So.
Okay, Louisa.
Thank you. So I have a question about. So she wrote this story in the 20s in New York.
Yes.
In the 20s.
In the 20s. It was published in 1941, but the story was written in the 20s.
The 20s in New York was the time when, correct me if I'm wrong, socialism was raging in New York, in the sense that socialism.
It was even before, starting in the, what is this? I didn't share anything, so.
Bob Pollock sharing. What's going on?
What's going on?
I hit, I don't know.
So I didn't share anything.
At the top of your screen, it will say stop share.
Yeah, it's Bob, your screen, stop
Yeah,
share.
okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not only the 20s. Socialism was prominent in certain areas, in certain places in New York, and not only among the Jews, but also, you
good.
know, Italian, other immigrant groups, and it started in the 80s and until the middle of the 1930s.
Yeah, and the anarchism as well, right?
Anarchism, socialism, SR, Bundisten, whatever you want, whatever name, פועלי ציון, אחדות העבודה, whatever. Apropos פועלי ציון, Ben Gurion was a member of פועלי ציון.
Yeah,
So, all those groups just flourished at that time. It was,
yeah, I'm fascinated by that because I'm working on a Ladino newspaper that was published at the time, and
was it a socialist Ladino newspaper?
Yes, it was socialist.
And what groups were represented?
But it was only the Sephardim that came from the Ottoman Empire at the time. So
But they were so there was a group, a specific group?
No, it was a newspaper that was an independent newspaper, but they regarded themselves as socialists. So I'm doing most of my work around that right now.
Okay.
So I'm fascinated by the different areas of Judaism that were maybe influencing one another, but I'm sure that just all the immigrant groups of New York at the time, which of course included people from all over the world, that they were so fascinated by anarchism and socialism and
they came.
Right, but
it was the time to believe in something. Yeah.
Right.
Well, also there were 4 daily Yiddish newspapers, and each one was a different belief. So the one you in your family that read whichever paper they read, the Freiheit, the Tug. My father read the Tug. My father-in-law, I think, read the Freiheit. That's how you believed.
Right. But it's fascinating how this Miriam Raskin interweaves that with the ideologies of the socialist revolutionaries on the one hand, and the anarchists and this regular socialists on the other hand. I think it's a fascinating picture of the ideological realities of the time.
Yes.
It's an excellent story.
Yes, you're right. Thanks. Yeah. Bob?
Yeah, I was trying to raise my hand and I hit share screen.
Okay. So you don't want to...
Steve looks like he's left. I was going to ask.
No, he's here. He's
Steve,
just
you still there?
Yeah, he's just under you.
Oh, okay. There you are. Hello.
Yeah.
So what you're sending us, is that in a sense, your interpretation of a Yiddish story that you told, or is it was a story where you wrote it in English first and then translated it?
No. This is a story that my father told me about 2 of his uncles that changed their name. He told, my father was a very good storyteller. And I've been trying a little bit. I wrote some of them down in English at one point, but it's not the kind of writing that, I'm not doesn't matter. Anyway, I've tried to write some of them down in English, but I found trying to write them in Yiddish, even though my father and I only spoke English to each other for the most part, just gives it a tom that I really like.
You mean
And
you were just taking it from your head directly?
well, I mean,
into Yiddish.
my head works in English.
No, I get
I mean,
that.
you know,
I get that.
so it's translating as best I can.
Right.
In my limited vocabulary.
Interesting. That's an interesting exercise.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping, like I say, I'm hoping it'll make me a little sound a little less Meshuggah when I speak Yiddish.
Okay, okay, Mariv?
So I wanted to respond to what Louisa was saying and you, Minna, about there being so many socialist groups then. We forget, this is the 1930s, right, that we're talking about?
No, that's before. I think
that
the
Steve is
20s.
writing about.
I think the 20s.
Right, 20s and 30s, okay. So in the US, what we're taught is just FDR came in and saved everything. That's what my mother thought. And I believe that until I did extensive research on Upton Sinclair in California, and I learned about the worker cooperatives that were formed during the Depression, they were very successful. They got together, they would go out and paint. See, Henrietta remembers. They would go paint some farmer's barn and the farmer would give them food and they would bring it back and distribute it. And you would get points. I met someone who was in it in Berkeley and he said it was very, very well run. So there was a lot of optimism about going to that. And it wasn't until FDR put in the Jobs Works program that that disappeared, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just in the air. It was a real thing that they thought they almost were getting there. They were going to start letting the workers take over the factories that were closed, things like that. And then they spent a lot of money to defeat Upton in California and FDR, and it was gone. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there was also, that was also the age of the trade unions, which really do not exist, almost do not
not as
exist
strong as they
anymore.
were then, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyone?
Well, we needed the unions.
Cookie and Louisa.
I wanted to tell a story that is mir gesagt, Nechten. They were travelers, worldwide travelers, and they got off the tour, she and her husband, and they went to a tiny village. They drove hours, a place that nobody would go to, like just a few homes. I mean, it's so way out of the way that like only the people who live in that country know. Anyway, I forget what the language was. Whatever it was, they didn't know. They only knew English and Yiddish. And she needed socks. So she goes into the pharmacist and she says to the pharmacist in English, he doesn't understand English. So they're both struggling with the languages. Finally, the pharmacist says that he speaks German. So she says, so she goes like this, Ich will kurze weiße Socken. She wanted white short socks. His face lit up, she said, like a neon sign. He goes, "Ihr redt Yiddish?" And he got so excited. He spoke Yiddish fluently. He was Jewish. He couldn't believe that these Jewish people were here speaking Yiddish. He called his wife. Practically the whole town came. They were invited for dinner, everything. They became like family in a half hour. She says the excitement that he had to hear Yiddish spoken, because once he said German, she figured maybe he'll pick up some words. So she spoke Yiddish to him. And she said it was so thrilling for them. It's so thrilling for her. And I tell her that I get, ich habe so viel Vergnügen, also ich kann reden Jiddisch die ganze Zeit und ich darf nicht übersetzen und sie verstehen mir. Ich habe mehr Vergnügen, die sie haben. Ich weiß, dass sie haben Vergnügen auch. But that little story, she said, his face just lit up to find in the outskirts of God knows where.
Where was it? Where was it? Where was it, Cookie?
Somewhere, I don't know, in Belgium or somewhere where they spoke French, but she said they drove hours. They wanted to get off the tour, and they were quite travelers. And it was like a tiny little village with a little drugstore or something. And she walks in, and they couldn't understand each other. They tried every language. Finally, he said German. He could speak German. So she figured she'll try the Yiddish. She tried the Yiddish. His whole face lit up. She said like a neon sign. So excited, called his wife, everybody. It's like they were invited everywhere, and it made them family immediately as soon as they spoke Yiddish. That's how thrilled it was. She'll never forget it. It was so thrilling. No.
Thank you, Cookie. Thank you. Rochelle?
Amol, I'm gonna do it in Yiddish. Amol kommt mir in Sinnen, ich weiß nicht von wann it, aber jetzt hab ich sich demand, a kleine Sach, was mein Vater hat gesagt. Wenn ich hab gekeiet Gumme, hat gesagt zu mir, was heißt der wie a Kie, a schmeckt der Schlinger rob, a schmeckt der nicht, bei euch.
Bei euch.
In translation?
No.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
If you don't mind translating, it would be great.
Okay.
You need to
translate it.
translate it. I don't understand.
Okay,
Sounds like
translate it.
something. It sounds like something my joke my father
Yeah,
would have told.
when I was chewing gum, my father would say, why are you chewing like a cow? If you like it, swallow it. And if you don't like it, spit it out. It loses its flavor in English.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Louisa?
Yeah, so I have a question again about the Poalei Zion. How strong were they in the United States at that time, and were they strong in the United States?
Well, everything is relative. Strength is relative. They were not like strong, like, the socialists with the forward. They were more, a little, they were minor at the time. Strongest was always in New York and Philadelphia. Those were the cities with the strongest, socialist presentation. So
In Israel.
Well, because
but
Poalei Zion was Zionist, right?
Yeah, Poalei Zion were Zionist. And that's, the Bundists were not Zionists. The anarchists, of course, were not Zionists.
Right.
And the socialists, it depends when. Like Abe Kahn, that was the editor of the Forwards. At the time, he was against Israel. And at the time, after he visited Israel twice, and after he visited Israel, he was for Israel. So you have to, it depends when. It's not, just, זה לא מקשה אחת. It's not one thing. It depends when and where. So that's what. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, but we can, Louisa, if we can meet, we can talk about it,
Sure.
Just tell me when you can meet, and we can sit and talk about it.
Of course.
Okay.
But also the influence of the radio, and I'm sure many of your families listen to WEVD, and that stood for Eugene V. Debs, who ran, I'm not sure, I don't know if he was a socialist or a communist, but he
He's a
ran.
socialist.
Yeah, I think he ran for president. I'm not sure.
He
but that
ran
was
as a
the-
socialist. He ran for president as a socialist.
Many
Right.
times.
4
And that was the
campaigns.
radio station we listened to, WEVD. So anyway, there was a lot of influences at the time. Newspapers, radio.
Yeah, it was flourishing at the time. It was a whole culture, There were coffee shops, and if you sat in one coffee shop, you were a socialist. You sat in another one, you were an anarchist. You sat in the third one, you were a Zionist. And the literary people, they sat in yet another one. And sometimes, they mix because they wanted a debate. And so it was Heimlich. They started debating with each other, and then it was really fun, making, like in the story, talking and doing with the hands, and of course, the smoking, and yeah, so.
But you know what, who was it, the famous socialist woman that said that every big change starts from a small group of people that get together. And I think those coffee shops, that's where you could meet and say, hey, should we start a campaign for this or that or whatever?
Sure.
Also in those places, you could read the newspapers. you could read them for
Right.
free because, not everyone had the money to buy the newspaper. So it was, there was a copy or two in the coffee shop and people came and sit at the coffee for about 4 hours, had one coffee for 4 hours and sat and read the newspaper. So, and it was not only in the United States, it was the same in Europe. No. There is a wonderful book of someone that wrote about the culture of coffee shop in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And
This was before radio and everyone depended on printed press.
On printed
That's
press,
why the
yeah.
press was so strong in those days.
Which
Do
one,
you
Mina?
remember the name of that book? I would love to hear about it.
It's Shachar Pinsker, that's the name.
Yeah. If you come across it, let us know.
Okay.
What
I
is the
think
name
it's
of the
not
book?
only in Europe. I think it also is a chapter about the US and about Tel Aviv.
What is the name of the book?
Yeah.
He doesn't
Shachar-
remember. That's the
I
trouble.
don't remember. It's Shachar Pinsker. Do
All right,
Pinsker.
I'm looking. Let's see.
I don't really remember, but it's
Yeah,
something that-
Mina, remember the cassette?
Yes, yeah. What Rachel is saying, Kassit, was the coffee shop of the literati and the actors and all the bohemian people in Tel Aviv. So,
Yeah. Every Friday afternoon, they would get together there on the sidewalk. That was.
Here it is. How calves created modern Jewish culture. Is that it?
what?
How calves created modern Jewish culture. A rich brew. How cafe. Here, I'll put the link. Oh, very interesting. Wow,
There's
I
lots
want-
of them. There's lots of books here. If you look up coffee shop books, book on coffee shops, there's quite a few, but I don't know which one.
No, I think.
Well,
that's-
Shachar Pinsker.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, then we should put his name. Here's one, The History of Coffee at, oh, no, never mind.
Yeah, the history of what?
Okay, we'll have to look him up.
Thank you, Minna. That looks really
Yeah,
cool.
a rich brew, that's it. That's it, a rich brew. That's the one. A rich
A
brew.
rich brew.
Rich brew.
A rich brew, yeah. I just, read, I skimmed. Sometimes you don't read everything.
Right,
but
I bought it.
Yeah,
I bought it,
it's
but I haven't read it
interesting
yet.
for people that are interested in, how ideas came to be formed, ideas can be formed in many ways. And that's one of the interactions that caused ideas to be formed.
Oh, that's great.
Mina, are you still recording?
Yes, should I stop?
Yeah.
I'm stopping.